Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema,
And I'm Eddie. We're reviewing Your Name. And this
and this
is
is
the
the rollback.
rollback.
Damn it!
Perfect every time.
So close. Okay, what's up, dude?
Dude, so correct me if I'm wrong, isn't this like your favorite film of the past like 10 years?
This is my favorite film of the 2010 decade, and we have a history here that I think I have a pretty good record that I don't think I've ever recommended you a movie that you haven't liked.
Hmm.
Wait, I think you can confirm that.
Yeah, you've never recommended a movie that I disliked, like for what it's
Yeah,
worth.
there we go. Yeah, I know. Our big controversy when we were running FBA was that I hyped up Spirit Away a lot,
Hmm.
and when you finally watched it, you were like, "This is fine, right?" This is like
Yeah,
that was your reaction,
it's fine. It's
which
it's all
is
right.
totally acceptable. We're here to discuss. If we like something, if we don't like it, everything is always welcome. I am okay with the fact that you may not like this film. I am open to that,
Mm.
but I'm just happy, and I want to keep this like first things first on the record that I got you to watch an anime film that does not have the words dragon or ball in the title. So if I have that, if I can take that, then it's already a win.
I mean, I would. Okay, let me. I'm not against anime. Like I liked My Hero Academia,
Yeah, I
obviously
know.
Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah,
fucking Full Metal Alchemist. By no means am I an anime geek, but by no means do I dislike the genre. Like I have a lot of respect for it.
totally.
I've actually been trying to find a good horror anime, like a good like
Ooh,
something nice, something scary, not like what's that one, Demon Slayer or something like that. No, I want something like scary.
like psychological scary or like visually scary?
Yes,
Perfect Blue.
really, Perfect Blue.
Trust me on this.
Do they have like an English dub?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I might be down. I'll find it.
Okay.
Uh, so this movie, yeah, you were recommending it to me for a while, and I was
I've
not
been hyping it for
hesitant,
a while.
not hesitant, but I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's go. We're gonna be starting potentially a new thing, and let's give it a
Mhm.
shot. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. Let me do a little
Do it, man.
yeah. So your name. High schoolers Mitsuha and Taki are complete strangers living separate lives, but one night they suddenly switch places. Mitsuha wakes up in Taki's body and he in hers. This bizarre occurrence continues to happen randomly, and the two must adjust their lives around each other. So this is Makoto Shinkai's highest grossing film. It was for a good while the highest grossing animated film, the highest grossing anime film, the highest grossing film in the whole Japan, and it recently got surpassed by the Demon Slayer movie actually. And yeah, I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know what to tell you. I haven't even finished watching the show, but Your Name is a special movie to me.
Hmm.
I've carried a history with it for a while. um my big thing, if you don't mind me going with it, is that I have a kind of a special connection with Shinkai, with Shinkai, the director. When I was a freshman in college, I went through a pretty rough breakup of like a relationship that lasted 3 years. And when the relationship ended, I was hanging out with my roommate at the dorm rooms, and my roommate told me like, just gave me this DVD and said, "Here, this might help." And it was a Shinkai film that lasts about an hour. It's not very long. It's called 5 centimeters per second. And I just want to say, Esteban, wherever you are, it did not help. No, it made me feel worse. And 5 centimeters per second is a very beautiful, very short film about a guy going through this breakup. And yes, it does hurt. But ever since then, I remember watching that film and thinking, I gotta know what this guy's doing. I gotta see what else this guy does. So I watched a couple more of his films, and he became like I want to see what else he does. And then he announces he's gonna do this Your Name film, and it comes out, and people who love the genre love it. I've known people that are not really into anime and they love it. I've seen people that this is the thing that turned them into anime. So I think Your Name is like Everlong by the Foo Fighters. it's their most well-known song, but even people who love the Foo Fighters and know the whole catalog will be like, "Oh, you know Everlong? You're cool." Like it's the most well-known thing, but no one's like, "Oh, you're a fake fan for liking it." No, no, no. Your name is cool. Your name is the friend that everybody likes. Okay, so I like your and me. You know, I love it. I love the film. I think it's fantastic. I think the animation is wonderful. I think the characters are amazing. I think the music done by the band Ratwimps is also great, and I think it's one of the most endlessly rewatchable films because every time that you watch it again, you pick something new. I just finished watching it again for this review, and I picked up something I haven't even noticed before. So I think the movie really owes itself to a rewatch. I think I think it's an endlessly rewatchable film, and because of that, I think it's really for everyone. I think it's a wonderful film. I'm really interested to know what you think, and you don't have to share my hype. Do not feel uncomfortable if you disagree, but I really do want to hear what you have to say about it. So,
God, I don't know if it's worth like saying it right from the beginning.
Yes.
So let me just say this real quick. I like the film a lot more the second time I watched it because I was able to appreciate it more and understand what I didn't like about it watching it the first time. That being said, the first time I watched it, I was like, it's not bad. My biggest gripe was I felt like I was playing catch up most of the time with what was happening, like the little innuendos, little details. Because I'm not familiar with anime. I'm also not very familiar with Japanese culture, or by any stretch of the imagination, am I? So a lot of the things were really unfamiliar to me. Some of the manner in which they interact. I think he had journals that she was writing in, but like I think they were deleted or scrambled. Like I couldn't follow that stuff. And the first time it bothered me. The second time I was like, oh, that's why it bothered me because I couldn't keep up. And I feel like there was something lost there because of the fact that I didn't know what they were typing, what they were saying. All I had to go off was kind of some of the dubbing, which the dubbing was great, but like I think I would have enjoyed it more if I had been able to understand even the subtitles on the bottom, like in parentheses, like, oh, you're welcome, I got this date for you, don't screw it up or whatever, or like when they're writing on each other, like I'm trying to understand like what the fuck, trying to keep up with it. And so that's what bothered me the first time was that I felt like there were a lot of gaps. The second time I was able to notice, I don't like it because of the gaps. And I was able to understand some of it a little more. But again, I think because I'm not as familiar with anime or the culture in Japan, but being, young, being a young millennial there or Gen Z or whatever.
Yeah.
I was playing catch up a lot, which is not a bad thing. I'm not by any chance trying to rank on the film. It's just like, okay, that's why I like the movie, but I don't love it. Or it's not like, you get what I mean?
Yeah,
better
totally.
than Spirited Away. Like, definitely, I enjoyed the story a lot more than I did Spirited Away. I like the characters a lot more than Spirited Away. Though they were pissing me off at the end. But we can get to that when we're reviewing the actual movie. They pissed me off both times I watched the movie.
Okay.
Do you want to start from the beginning? Or how do you... Because, I mean, mate, this is your movie. Like, however you want to structure this review, man. You do.
We'll just go through the parts that we remember, the parts that we like. So basically, the movie starts with this narration of this comet that's flying above Japan, and all we know is that there's this comet and it's flying on top, and we meet our two characters, Taki and Mitsuha. Taki being a city boy living in Tokyo, and Mitsuha being a country girl living in a small town of Itomori. And yes,
see, no, that's one thing I didn't understand. Like, where the hell are they? Where like. That didn't translate well for me. Like, oh, she's in the country. I thought she was just like a nearby village, like in the suburbs or something. Okay, so it's like that.
They're relatively close, but not that close. Yeah.
Gotcha. But there's a cultural difference between the two, like where they're at, right?
I mean, to the point where someone living in the country and someone living in the city. I mean, yeah, her family has a tradition of they make kushikami sake, which is sake, which is done the traditional way, which is they eat the rice, they spit it, and then it ferments into alcohol. It's very traditional and very old, but since it's a family thing, they keep showing it up. That's why she does it, but her rest of her classmates don't really like connect with it, kind of bully her for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, cultural change, kind of, and parentheses. Paramount is working on a live action American version of this film produced by J.J. Abrams. I'm not loving the idea. And the thing that they're going to make it different is that they want the boy to be from Chicago and the girl to be Native American. And it's not the same, but I guess it's the closest that they can get. So,
or they could just remake it using Japanese actors in Japan and just have them speak English.
Or they could just not remake it.
Or they could just not remake it.
They could just leave it the fuck alone.
But there's that sweet your money dollars that they need to make.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so we meet our two characters, and immediately I like that we start to see them from the other's perspective. Like, we don't know how they are. We know how they are based on how everyone else reacts around them. Like we meet Mitsuha in her small town, and we meet her two friends, and we meet her classmates, and we see that they're telling her like you acted weird, like, which means that the way she's acting now is different than how she was acting before. So I like how we have that to go for, and then we meet Taki. We meet Mitsuha in Taki's body, and we see her in his body meet up with his two friends, with his coworkers, with this boss at his work that he has a crush on. We start to see their small differences, and I like how we're introduced like that. I like how we're allowed to meet the characters from everyone else's perspective before we meet them actually. We just see their confused reactions to what's happening, you
know? So real quick, this movie was a little hard to watch the first time for me. I was watching it during my fucking lunch break at work, and it's a bit odd when you're watching an anime movie at work with a bunch of people around you, and they're like, "What the fuck are you watching? Are you watching cartoons?" I'm like, "No, it's a movie.
It's research.
It's research. Yeah, it's for the podcast. Fuck off, Joe." But yeah, so watching this movie, I did like that aspect of it. I was able to appreciate it more the second time around. You know, really appreciate the different aspects, the manner in which they interact with other people. The anime was the art was gorgeous. The everything just looked so pristine and nice, and it felt HD. I felt like I did this movie a disservice by watching it on my laptop. I feel like I should have watched it on like a 4K television, because I can only imagine how much more beautiful it would look in that.
It does. It benefits from that. I will agree. But even watching it on your phone, you can appreciate the very small details, like the lighting on top of the dirt, or just a background, or just any scene. I think really benefits. Shinka has just this beautiful, unique way of animating that makes it look. It doesn't look realistic, but it feels realistic. You know?
Yeah, it feels like realistic art, if that makes sense, in the anime world. Like it's as clean as you're gonna get, and it is very clean.
That's the right term, clean. I will agree there. Yeah. When you're talking about the cultural thing, there is one like little portion of dialogue that is really untranslatable, and is where I think a really good joke is lost. There's a part where Mitsuha is in Taki's body, and she's hanging out with Taki's two friends, and they're asking him, why were you late? Like, why did you come here late? And she goes, oh, I was late because like I had like some issue. And in the original language, the term I, there's a specific I for when you're a girl and when you're a guy. So she accidentally says I, as in a girl, was late, and they confuse it with what? Like, and she immediately changes to like I as a guy. That's really untranslatable. So not even the English, even in the Spanish dub, which I have seen, it can't be translated. So I think a really good joke there is lost, where like she has to like say it and then say it like wrong. But it really benefits to like later when he's back into his own body and he bumps into the friends, and the friends go like, well, he seems to be acting normal. And the other friend goes like, well, he was acting kind of cute yesterday.
I remember that. That was funny, actually.
And the other friend is like, what?
The fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
What's about the oh fuck, I was gonna tell you something. Okay, wait. He was acting real cute yesterday. Their interactions kind of threw me off a little bit when they were interacting with the body switches. Took me a second to keep up with, The first time that I watched it, I thought it was Mitsuda. I thought she was in her body, like normally, like what the hell? And then she goes back into Saki. Like I thought I followed her twice.
Yeah.
Although I thought it was kind of funny. It's a dumb joke when they're both like re-examining their bodies. Like, what the fuck is this? I was like, that's kind of funny. That's
teenage. That's teenagers, man.
That's teenage bullshit. That's
exactly what teenagers would do, man.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's kind of fun. Again, awkward watching it at work on your lunch break.
Totally. Yeah, I can imagine because that's how the characters are introduced. Like, first, first thing you see is Mitsuha waking up and she's just touching her boobs, and you're like, art? Question mark.
And then Titsu,
Taki.
I'm sorry, Taki, and Taki is just like, there's something there.
Yeah, which is exactly how a teenager would react in that situation. That's exactly what I would think was going to happen. So we see these two, they start changing bodies and they start to, try to leave each other's lives. And when they discover this change, they start to leave each other notes, they start to leave each other messages, they start to write in each other's bodies because they're getting desperate. And we get to see those small interactions. And the one thing that I don't love about the film is that I would like those scenes to be longer. I wanted more to see from each other's point of views, but it almost reaches like the 30-minute mark and then it cuts off to, we need to get the plot going. And we start to move into a little bit more in the direction of the comet and what is happening and what that's causing it. How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like those scenes were enough, or did you want it to get the plot going already?
No, I think it was a good job to get us invested in the characters. That's the thing. That's the medium with any book, any movie, TV show, wrestling, like anything. Mm-hmm. We need to care about the characters first before we can give a shit about anything else. And they, in those first 30 minutes, they made me care about these two, their tendencies, the little interactions, it all added up to two characters that, hey, you know what? I can see them together. I want to see where this goes. And then we get to the comet. I do think it was a slight bit of a mind fuck when you find out, though, that they're...
The timelines are wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that complicated things a lot for me. I did have one thing that kind of also threw me off, besides the timelines being split. The second, she set him up on a date, and then she realizes how much she cares about him. This is one of the two minor things that pissed me off about these two. The first thing is, if you can leave notes for each other, hey, here's my name, phone number, address, where the fuck I live. Like, tomorrow when you wake up in this body, call me. And then we go from there. Or, hey, leave me your name and number and all your info next time, whatever. Just like, I feel like they could have connected like that. Maybe that's a dumb nitpick.
It's a nitpick, yeah.
But that's fair. But, yeah, I'm just like, you could have found out each other so much sooner.
I also think it's a nitpick, but I also think it's a fair nitpick. But the thing that I always have to remind myself is that these are teenagers and they don't care. Like I'm in my 20s and I feel like for everything I have to be like, oh, this is my information. Here's my card. Here's my this. Here's my for everything. And when I was a teenager, I didn't care about that. Like I barely asked my friends what they did. If I bumped into like a childhood friend like 10 years later when I was like a teenager, and we would bump, we would talk, we would catch up, and then we would like leave. And then I would go to my family and be like, hey, I bumped into so and so, and they'll be like, oh, how's his family?
Fuck if I know.
Oh, what school does he go to? Fuck if I know. Like,
dude,
what do you talk about? We talk about bands. We talk about video games. And we talk about cartoons. Like, what
about family? What are we, friends?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that angle. Like now I'm like, bro, like if like, have you ever seen a movie and two people are like, yeah, okay, see you there, and then they just hang up, and you're like, you didn't say where. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's me now, but like back then, I don't care. Like I'll see you there. Sure. I'll be there. Where is it? I don't know, but I'll be there. It's the magic of being a teenager. To
be a young man again.
To be a young man, no bills, no nothing. Yeah, no, I totally understand that perspective. I think it's totally valid, but I also think these are teenagers.
Yeah, they're stupid. They get a pass at that part.
Yeah. The
But
other
then
part was that what you
no,
said two things bother you. That and
I'll tell you the other part at the very end.
okay.
Yeah, because it's vital to that part. So okay, so at this point, that's when we find out. What do we find out first about the comet, or
So the comment is like a background thing. It's not commented on until we finally reach like the why. Because here's where and here's where I think repeat viewings help. Um, that moment where Mitsuha tells him in the message, at the end of the date you'll be able to see the comment, and he's at the end of the date and he goes, "What comment?" And that's where the grinds start to the gears to start to grind, and you go like, wait, at the start we saw them both looking at the comet, so why isn't he looking at the comet? And that's the first hint of, okay, something is wrong here.
Mhm.
And so after that day they stop switching bodies, like the body switching stops. The whole plot of the movie was sold on this being a switching body movie, and by the first third that's over. So you're like, okay, what is this movie trying to pull? What's happening? And then we finally see Taki, a little bit of time passes and he's having these visions of this town and he's forgetting about it. He forgets Mitsuha's name. And then he says, okay, I'm going to take a trip. I'm going to go to this town. I have to find it because something is calling. It's popping up in my dreams. I need to know what's happening. So he goes into this town. He's accompanied by one of his friends and his boss. And they go into this town and they finally found it, and they realize that the town that he's been looking for is a town that was destroyed 3 years ago by that comet. And that's when you realize the timelines are wrong. Everything with Mitsuha happened 3 years ago, and Taki's barely catching up, which means that Mitsuha is 3 years older than Taki. Good for her. And
oh, good for him too. Yeah,
yeah, good for both, honestly. So so we realize that she's older and that this happened already and that he's barely catching up, which makes sense. Which when we later see the scene where she went to visit him the day before she was hit, and he doesn't know who she is because they haven't met. And that's also where she gave him the little hair tie that he wears on his arm. Yeah.
did it? It almost threw me off just a little bit, like a red herring, when I thought the cook and the waitress, when they were eating at the restaurant, Taki, am I saying that right? When Taki and his friend and the boss, when they were there eating, for a second I thought the chef was Mitsuda's friend. I was like, well, oh fuck, wait, there's no way there's that much of a gap because that little guy looks old.
Yeah.
That did throw me off. That told me like, I think time's not right here, but okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like the end of Arrival when you realize that. Yeah. Things are not. Yeah.
So I'm like, this is throwing me off a bit. But fucking okay, so they lead him to the town. He finds out it's been destroyed. It was a meteor 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And at this point, he goes down. He starts investigating everything. Right. He stays overnight, investigates.
Yeah.
And he finds the Saki, and the Saki kind of connects him, right?
Well, that's her. Like it's her. It's her thing. And here's the thing. We later see, and there's something that I barely noticed on this viewing, is that there's a moment where Taki in Mitsuha's body, when he returns to her body, and he's talking with the grandma, and the grandma mentions like, oh, you're having those dreams where you're switching bodies. That happened to me. It happened to your mom. It happened to every woman in our generation. And that's when you realize that these two are connected. These two were always supposed to bump into each other to stop the comet destroying, well, not destroying, but killing all these people. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of this always meant to be crossing between the two of them. And if time wasn't going to let them because the timelines were wrong, then something had to like intervene. And that's where the comet comes in. I recently watched this anime series called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. It's a long ass name, but it's amazing. And they introduced this thing called the adolescence syndrome, which is this very weird, almost supernatural things that start happening to teenagers. And I think, while that's a made up thing for that show, I think it's also a thing that could very easily be applied to this also. Adolescent syndrome, and it's a thing that, like, regardless of time and space, something needs to make them connect, and the thing that made them connect was them switching bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, but it's also something that feels very normal in Japanese culture. Like they have this thing for magical realism where they have very fantastical elements in very simple human stories. You can see this on any Ghibli film. You can see this on any Shinkai film. You can read this on any Murakami novel. So for something like that to take this and make them bump into each other and be like, no, like by force, you need to bump and meet and cross paths so you can stop this catastrophe. They make them connect through the sake. He finds it and he manages to drink it, and that makes him have that beautifully animated vision where he sees all her life, and it's done in a different art style, and it's wonderful. It's one of my favorite parts of the film because the art style just changes and it feels like a flashback, it feels like a memory, and it's animated beautifully. And without words, like they're just showing you her life. They show her dad leaving, her mom dying, the birth of her sister, how she started to live with her grandma, and how this is a thing that it's almost prophesized that they have to meet because of the comet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That you're right. That scene was beautifully animated, and I think after that, that's when they meet on top of the mountain, almost, right? And they're kind of like almost reconnecting, but like their ghosts are connecting, and it's a little different there.
Here's where a reviewing helps. At the very start of the film, Mitsuhai is in class, and her teacher is talking about that specific thing. There's a moment, the golden hour, like that moment, like right before twilight.
Oh,
and okay. she says that's the moment where miracles can happen, and that's because in that moment where the two of them are standing basically in front of each other at 3 years difference, and they're just they both look at the twilight, and both of them go like golden hour, and that's when they hear each other and they look and they're like, there we are. Boom. We can finally like bump, which turns into like their first meeting, their first like face to face, where they finally get to talk, and leads to, in my opinion, one of the most devastatingly infuriating moments in film, which is when they're writing each other's names, and then you see the boom, the pen drops. Like that's such a frustrating but brilliant moment that drives me crazy every time I watch it.
Because they can't remember, right? Like he's trying to find a pen and he can't remember, and she's unable to.
Just seeing the pen drop in, like the music cuts off in just that second, just like it hurts. It made me angry the first time I watched that.
But remind me though, from that point forward, isn't that when he goes back into her body?
No, they go back into each other's bodies, like into the originals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember, what's the event that triggers him going back into her body?
Oh, that's when. So he first goes into he's into her body when he's with the grandma, and then he goes into the date, and then he has those dreams. He sees her name in the list of names of people that died. He goes into the little dome. He finds the sake. He drinks it, and then he wakes up. He wakes up in her body after that, and then he in her body drives back to the mountain, and then she in his body wakes up, and then that's when they meet. And then from there, after they're both together and they finally talk, then he wakes up in his body, she wakes up in her body to finish the rest of the plan to move the city into the school.
But wait, isn't he the one that starts the plan though? He's the one in her body after she cut her hair, and she's is like, gets the friends, hey, we need to do this. You're good with explosives. You're going to be making the announcement,
Yeah, but in that moment is when she sees the comet. He in her body sees the comet, and then he takes the bike from the friend and is like, wait, I need this. And that's when he in her body bikes back to the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then from there is when they both like see each other and then return to their bodies.
I think to rewatch this again, because the series of events in this movie are not bad, but like you need to keep up with it. Like you need to be well aware of what's going on.
You start to notice little details. Like you start to notice that in all the scenes where they're looking at their calendars, it's right from the start. The number day is the same, but the weekday is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So details are there from the very start. Like it'll say the 17th, and then for Mitsuha it will say Thursday, and then for him it will say Saturday.
So like the kind of like the Nolan thing, where like repeat viewings, you're gonna notice more and more little things here and there.
Totally. Also, that also explains why there's a moment where he wakes up in her body and he starts to put the uniform, like her uniform, and then the little sister comes in and is like, "Why are you wearing a uniform? Like it's not a school day." Because to him it's a school day, but to her it's not, because of the 3 year difference. But we don't know that until later.
Yeah, and you don't get the difference.
Yeah. But like I said, repeat viewings really benefit this.
Agreed. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So we have so these two start a plan to basically save the town, and they get the friends involved, they get the dad involved, and they manage to get all the town folk into the school so that no one is hurt. But something that needs to be remembered is that these two kind of lose the memory of the previous day when they wake up in each other's bodies, which is why when Taki wakes up back in his body, he can't remember her name, she can't remember his name, and it's when we have that moment where he took the pen, wrote his name on her hand, and then he's like, just so we can remember our names when we wake up. And when she comes back into her own body, she's trying to run back, she trips and she sees her hand, and she doesn't see his name. He instead wrote, "I love you." Aww. Which is one of the most, again, frustrating things ever, because even she goes like, "This doesn't help me. It doesn't tell me your name." And yeah, as a professional cheeseball, that moment makes me cry every single time. But as a logical person, I'm like, come on, man, like leave your business card there.
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah,
leave your email, contact information.
I was right. I was right though.
Like I said, as a 26 years old, it would frustrate me. As a 15-year-old, I get it. But yeah,
you fucking would. You are a professional cornball. I remember.
I am, absolutely. You were there. And so we get to finally the scene where Shinkai does this thing very well, where it doesn't give you all the answers from the very start. Like starting the film, you wouldn't know that they changed their bodies until it finally hits you that they did. And they do a similar thing where like we see all the other people moving, but we see the comet hit. We don't see if they survive. We just see the comet hit. And then we cut back to Taki. It's like 5 years later, and he's graduating college. He's older. He's a man now. He's out doing job interviews. He's with his friends, and then he bumps into his former boss, and they start talking. And she goes like, "Remember we went on that date?" And he goes like, "Yeah, I think." And she goes like, "Do you remember that we went to this small town?" And he's like, "Yeah." They're like, "You were looking for something there. Did you find it?" And he goes, "Yeah. I mean, I kind of did. I don't think I know what it is, but I just know I'm still looking for it." And she goes, "Okay, well, I hope you find it, whatever." And then we see this news piece on the screens that are like, "Oh, today marks the anniversary of when the comet hit Itomori. There were no casualties." Yeah. And you're like, "Oh, okay, good."
But they also talk about how there were conspiracy theories, like, "Oh, did they plan this or whatever? How did they know?" Like
they always do. And here is where we have what I like to call, a classic Shinkai bullshit moment. And it's when you see Taki, he's hanging out at this coffee place and he's marking down like all his writings. And then two people behind him are talking, and they're like, "Oh, come on, like we need to get ready for the wedding or whatever." And it's like he just starts listening to them, and you realize that those are Mitsuha's friends. Those are her two friends, and you're like, "Oh shit, they made it! Like that's great. Yeah. And they got together. That's great." And and then we have here a moment that frustrated me a lot the first time I watched it. Like I mentioned before, this is Shinkai also directed this other movie called 5 centimeters per second. And it's also about these two kids that are teenagers and they break up because he's going to move away and they're never going to see each other again. And the movie ends with spoilers, I guess, but 5 centimeters per second ends. It's not a happy ending. It ends with him basically having not a really good life. He's kind of sad. He's alone. and the movie ends with like him walking by this subway crossing, and the girl that was his girlfriend in high school kind of crosses the same path, and they kind of feel that it's the other one, but by the time they look back, the subway is crossing and they can't really see each other, and they just never see each other again, and the movie ends, and it's sad, and we all cry. And Shinkai does the exact same thing here, but with a twist. They have them cross. It's raining. They're holding umbrellas, and we sense that they sense each other, but they really don't. So they just kind of like look, and they just look away, and it looks like the movie's gonna end, right? And then we see small moments of like we see the music playing, we see how everything has changed, we see Mitsuha's little sister growing up, we see that she's older and that she's in school, and then we get the ending. And the ending of Your Name, you can say anything you want about the film, the ending to Your Name, to me, is goddamn perfection. Okay, we see these two, they're both living in Tokyo. We see that Mitsuha is alive, and they're both having this internal monologue of, I'm always looking for something, I'm always looking for someone. And then perfectly, subways crossing in front of each other, and they see each other from the windows, and they recognize each other. They don't know how, but they recognize each other, and they're running, and the music is playing, and they're just running from one station to the other, and they don't know what to say, but they know that they're looking for each other. And then finally they see each other at this real life location. Those stairways are real, they exist. They see each other, she at the top, he at the bottom. They look at each other, they realize that they were chasing each other, but then it hits them, I don't know this person. What the hell am I going to say to a stranger? And then they walk by each other, and they're like, what do I say? What do I say? And then finally Taki turns and he goes, excuse me, I know this is weird, but I think I know you. And then she goes, I think it too. And then between tears, they ask each other for their names, and the movie ends. And to me, that's fucking heart racing perfection. Like, that ending gets my heart going like this, because every time I think that they're not going to see each other, I think that they might not bump into each other, and every time they do. Thank you, cinema. You are a beautiful lover. So
I mean, I guess that moment was stressful because you had the pre-context of it, you know, where like, they better fucking see each other this time.
Yeah. And like I said, everyone's experience is going to be different with this film. Like, I don't expect everyone to feel the same way. But to me, if I'm given this platform to talk about the things I love, to me, the ending of Your Name is delicious perfection. It's as good as movies get, in my opinion. Like, it makes me feel things. It brings me back this nostalgic joy that for some reason only anime can capture. Like, I just don't feel like if this was a live action film, it wouldn't hit the same way. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's the great connector. It's the great discoverer. Your Name, to me, is that good, and it's my favorite film of the 2010 decade because of the whole part, but basically because of the ending. Because I don't know, how do you come up with that? I'm jealous of that. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I think, what if nothing I do is as good as the ending of Your Name? Like, that's a legit feeling that I get. And everyone is going to have that one film, that one thing that makes them feel like that. And to me, it's the poem, Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. Is a novel like, I don't know, like 100 Years of Solitude. Is something like this. Something like this just is going to hit with someone specifically. And it hits to me in that way. Yeah.
Damn, I don't know how to follow that.
You said you wanted to criticize something by the end. I really want to hear it. And I'm not here to tell you, no, you're wrong. I really want to hear it so that we can, embark on a conversation.
It was that ending, honestly. Yeah. It would bug the hell out of me the first time because they were so hesitant to reach out to each other. Yeah. And all I could think of was when he was down the bottom of the stairs and she was up there, like just like a smile, just something kind of acknowledgement of like, hi. Hi, like something like that's what was pissing me off. I'm like, turn around, you son of a bitch, or turn around, he's cute. Come on, like I found myself physically angry at the fact that they weren't more, I guess, outgoing, which I guess is another nitpick. To be fair, it is a nitpick, but like, fuck, something internally is telling you, hey, this person over here, something about them.
Yeah.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Like there's so many songs. Turn around. Whatever. Anyway, I think I found that really frustrating as well, almost to a point of like actual physical anger while I'm in my boss's office watching this movie.
Yeah.
Which maybe props to them. They made me so invested in them finally meeting that I became physically angry when I thought they might actually not do it. Bear in mind, I didn't have the pre-context of his other film where they didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those would be my only two real gripes. Criticisms. I also acknowledge the difference in
culture.
Made it a little hard for me to fully understand the movie, but fucking my respect, regardless.
Yeah.
Was this only his second like full-length feature film, or?
No, he's done a couple, but they're all very, very different. His movies have this thing where like they all live in the same aesthetic world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like and they share some characters. Like for example, one of his previous films is called The Garden of Words, and it's about this student that has a crush on his teacher, and they're kind of like keep bumping into each other in this garden while it's raining. That teacher is the teacher at the start of Your Name, so it's like the same character.
Yes.
Both Taki and Mitsuha show up in Shinkai's newer film, Weathering with You, which was my number one film of the year.
Were they like? Was it like a quick cameo, or?
It's a quick cameo, yeah. But like I said, same aesthetic world.
I gotta ask, man, were they background characters or what were they?
They have lines.
Oh, okay. Wow, they meet. Cool. Okay.
Also, the voice actors come back and everything. So yeah.
Are they young or are they older?
It's like after the end, but before they meet again.
Ah, okay. That's weird. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. So yeah. They get to they show up. They don't show up together, but they show up like separately, like in the film. Yeah.
So is Weathering with You? Is that the one with the cat that you were talking about? No, that's a different one, right?
That's A Whisker Away. Yeah.
Is that by the same studio?
No, the completely different studio.
Gotcha.
Weathering with You is the one about the girl that can control the weather.
Oh, that's right. And you said like
that's on HBO Max also.
Yeah. Is that the one where you said like they pay her or something?
Yeah, because it's like endless rain, and then they're like, "Can you come and just like it's my daughter's quinceañera? Can you like stop the rain for like 4 hours?" And she's like, "Yeah, totally."
Done.
Yeah, that one, Weathering with You, is fantastic also, and it's like I said, it exists in the same aesthetic world, but it's very different to Your Name.
Is that going to be our next one? It can be.
You want to?
Sure, it's on HBO Max.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Fuck it. All right, we know what we're doing in 2 weeks.
Yeah, totally.
We can release it along with the pre-Justice League episode.
We got to do a pre-Justice League episode, right?
Yeah, we got to do predictions.
Damn it. Okay, yeah.
Or we can just do like our own like little independent 5-minute segment of just like what do we want and what are we hoping.
Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Fuck it.
Okay. Coming back to Your Name, I really want to know. Like, I know I've been hoarding the episode, but I really want to know like everything that you felt, everything that you thought, like everything.
Well, no, I mean, I've been sprinkling it throughout. The animation was beautiful. Like, fucking, that's the first thing I noticed. Obviously, the characters I didn't like at first. I learned to give a shit about them as they went. Their interactions, like they were funny. They were actually funny. There were some things lost in translation, some cultural differences I couldn't quite keep up with. I did notice though the second time around, I did pick up on a few things, not everything, clearly. I've only seen the movie twice, but
yeah,
I like the feature overall. I don't see it like it's not one of those movies I think a remake would work like at all, even if they follow it step by step. I feel like it's this movie is an event unto himself. You know what I mean? I don't see a remake working. The plot wasn't crazy complicated or overly insane. It was just the right amount of like almost like 1980s buffoonery that like this is impossible, but it's possible.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't require like a big logical explanation. It's just it's happening.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
Like, time is intertwined, past and present, we're all intertwined together.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. She's explaining the plot of the movie. Kind of.
it's also something very interesting because in Japanese culture they have this belief. It's a cultural thing. They have this belief that soulmates are tied together by this red ribbon,
I didn't know that
which
either.
is which is why also she has the red ribbon that later ties them together. It's a cultural thing, but it's something nice that like they managed to manifest into like a physical thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, which ended up being like a nice physical sentiment in the film.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man, I love Your Name. I think it's a wonderful little film that it's not even that long. It's like an hour 30 minutes, and
Yeah, about an hour 40. But
yeah,
what? So, and I don't say this.
use your words.
Why? Fuck you. What brings you? What makes you come back to it so much? Because on retrospect, it seems like kind of a simple movie, not a bad movie, but a simple one. You know, what makes you like keep watching it, like
I
rewatching it?
I guess what makes me come back is the fact that it makes me feel a very specific way. Like I mentioned before, both nostalgic and happy.
Mhm.
Happy, sad, the way that the Cure is described in the movie Sing Street.
Mhm.
It's a nice feeling because it's a movie that's both small and kind of epic.
Mhm.
Like you know how we mentioned a lot about the end of the world film and how we're kind of tired of those. This is not an end of the world film, but it carries a lot of weight.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that it's introduced with a very simple premise of, oh, hijinks ensue, guy and girl changing bodies. What shenanigans are they going to get into?
Mhm.
But it's not. Like it becomes a more special spiritual kind of film where like we see these characters kind of destined to bump into each other, and maybe it's the cornball in me talking, but it's like there's kind of a nice feeling there of like maybe I don't believe there's a higher plan or like a higher power. I believe there is something, but I don't know what it is. And
Mhm.
it's just kind of nice to see something very creative, a very unique voice in director Shinkai, um like use that, like magnify that to like all his powers and just be like, this is what I don't know if this is true, but it's what I believe it's happening right now. And it manages to take all those very beautiful, very simple magical realism things that we're so used to seeing in anime films especially, and just make this story about two kids that, for better or for worse, were supposed to bump into each other. And they're, how amazing is that we can witness something like that. They managed to bump into each other and managed to save a lot of people and find each other in the way, uh, that regardless of how far away they live or different timelines or how different their lives are, they were always supposed to meet. That's something very special, and I don't think a lot of movies succeed in translating that into language and into a feeling. And I think this movie does it wonderfully. And I love that feeling. And that's why I keep coming back to it.
You know, I didn't realize that, but now in retrospect, not only do I like the characters because of their, what they say, their interactions, but the way the animation it conveys so much emotion. Like I'm not used to that. I'm not used to getting that kind of emotion from
Animation.
animated movies. Yeah, because I mean, what I've seen that's mostly animated, with the exception of a handful of animes, fucking action, cartoon, superhero, you know,
Totally.
cartoons. So to actually watch
Hey,
it,
those make me feel things too, man. Like
no. But like this kind of like drama, like again, I've never seen a drama anime movie before, or a
yeah.
thriller, I guess, whatnot. Like I've never seen one that conveys such emotion. So
Yeah.
props to them on that. I just remembered another one thing that I really also enjoyed was the fact that Mitsura's loved ones could recognize that it's not her because they looked into her eyes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not my granddaughter, or you're not my daughter. Who are you?
Yeah.
What do you mean? The eyes. It's all wrong. Like,
Yeah.
okay, it's different.
Yeah.
Um, I know, man. It's those little touches, which I guess maybe that's all on the director. The little touches are what make up the difference and really make it matter in the end.
Different sensibilities, man. That's why I'm always very, very pro people discovering and watching anime, because I know a lot of people who are like or like, oh, I wish Disney would make a movie about this, or oh, I wish or when Disney does something very small, and I'm not dunking on Disney. I love the company, or at least they pay me just to say that I do. But don't limit yourself. You as an audience member, don't limit yourself. Be open to see other things, because the different countries bring different sensibilities. The same way that a different director can bring a different sensibility. Not all anime is all Dragon Ball, and it's not all just high school girls in small skirts. Like it can be very beautiful. It can be very big, and sure, that exists too. And if you're looking for it, there's a market for it, and you'll find it. It's very easy. They'll tell you. But I just think that a movie like this that's very accessible, like I think people who have no idea what anime will be very easy to convince with this one. And I think it's a movie that can very easily open the doors to a lot of people. Like my parents have seen 3 anime films in their lives, and this is one of them. If you can convince people like that to watch it, I think the movie has done a great job, and people can follow it. And like I said, it benefits from repeated viewings, and people keep rewatching it, man. It's a movie that hasn't lost any kind of momentum. If anything, Weathering with You made people like remember it and bring it back. So big fan of that, big fan of the movie, big fan of the reaction that people get from it. I love showing this to first-time watchers because they get so frustrated with the end as well, in a good way.
Okay, maybe I bought in then.
Yeah, and because of that is why I love the film, and because no other film has made me feel the way that this one has. Like not even Weathering with You, even though it got close, but it's a different film. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan of it. I like that we took the time to talk about it. I'm glad that you finally took the time to watch it. And if anything, I hope that it left something, because I know that the first time I watched it, I remember thinking, I need to watch this again. Then I watched it again. Then I had to rewatch it several times and be like, just keep catching the little details. And like I said, this movie came out 2016. Like I just rewatched it today again, and I found more things. Like I found that the moment where Mitsuhaya is in Taki's body and she helps the boss like sew her skirt, she does a little drawing of a porcupine at the end, and then I saw that she has little porcupines in her phone case.
Oh, okay.
I never noticed that. That's so small. I never noticed that.
But it's those little details that matter.
Yeah. And it's not something that affects the story, but it's something that makes me like understand the character a little bit more. Like, oh, that's why she drew those porcupines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Your Name. Shinkai is a genius. I can't wait to see what he's going to do next. Weathering with You is also great, but Your Name might be my favorite film that he has ever done. So, yeah.
What would be your final score on this thing? A to B, 1 through 10, whatever.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's
perfect.
To me, it's as good as a movie can get. It's funny. It's heartwarming. The characters are great. The storyline is great. The little twist is great. And any movie that makes me want, because look, you can watch a perfect film and never watch it again. You very rarely get something that is both amazing and endlessly rewatchable. So I love Your Name. If someone says I've never seen it, I will gladly watch it with them. I will gladly recommend it to anyone who's not even into anime, or even if you like anime, you haven't watched it. Take your time. It's amazing, and it's a crime the way that it was not given the attention that it should have when it came out. This was submitted to be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, and it wasn't even nominated. It was a travesty. Second, this was Japan's choice to represent them as Best Foreign Film. Consider that an animated film was sent to be considered as like, this is the best that we can offer, as a representative. And this is the year that Shin Godzilla came out. So,
Oh, I take offense to that. Well, wait, what the fuck? Second, wait one goddamn second. You're telling me that they picked this film over Godzilla?
Over Shin Godzilla.
Calm down. Who submitted this movie? Was it the government?
Yes.
Oh, that's no fucking wonder they didn't like Shin Godzilla.
No, they love Shin Godzilla. They gave it the equivalent to the Oscar in Japan, Shin Godzilla won that year. But Your Name won best screenplay.
You're fucking goddamn right, it won.
Which
Let me see.
what's up?
No, I'm looking for the end. Really? Zootopia?
Oh yeah, that was your Zootopia one.
Yeah. No, like I'm looking through like, okay, like what did win at the Oscars that year? But really? Zootopia? This movie was way better than Zootopia.
I agree.
Like, it's not even close. Why?
Yep. That's the way the masapan crumbles.
Moana, the Life as Zucchini. Yeah, no, none of these movies were better than Your Name, and I can say that happily because I don't even know like 3 of them.
My Life as Zucchini was pretty good, though. I will say that, but not as good as Your Name, in my opinion. Okay. All right. Closing thoughts. Anything else you'd like to add about Your Name?
B. Not a negative B. Definitely, I liked it more than Spirited Away. I just think maybe I need to watch it a few more times to appreciate it more. Because, like I said, there was a lot of shit I didn't pick up the first time. Second time, I could understand that I didn't pick up stuff and that I need to like try a little harder. So maybe if my first opinion was a little more negative and then it became more positive, maybe with subsequent viewings, it'll only get better. For right now, though, solid B.
Fair. You're fair. You've given worse films better ratings. So yeah, I agree.
To be fair, I've given those films better ratings because I'm very biased, and I know I am.
You are extremely biased.
Only when it comes to DC movies. Only DC can get away with that shit.
Okay, can I at least convince you that this was better than Aquaman?
You're asking for a lot.
Okay, fine. You know what? I tried.
It was better than Suicide Squad. How about that?
You know what? It's a good day. I'll take it. It's a Friday. You know what? It's Friday. I'll take it. You know.
That's a positive.
Positive.
I'll say that. That's a positive.
And I mean, you know, I've had acid trips that were better than Suicide Squad. So you know, I can.
This is what you watch the Suicide Squad.
We'll see then. I will happily, you know, eat my words if the Suicide Squad is amazing. So you know.
I mean, James Gunn.
James Gunn has not disappointed me. You know, it hasn't.
This is the first time for everything, though.
For everything. Speaking of Warner Brothers HBO Max, I don't think Your Name is available on HBO Max, but the pseudo sequel, same universe movie, Weathering with You is. So highly recommend if you are hungry for more Your Name. That's the closest you're gonna get. So yeah, HBO Max. I just got notice today that while HBO Max will not be available here by the time the Snyder Cut comes out, it will be available on Prime. So I will be able to watch it and will be able to review it at a good time. So can't wait for that. Speaking of that, this is the end of February and March is going to be a monster of a month.
Dude. Oh my God. We have 2 huge releases that are going to rock my world. I'm wearing one of the shirts for one of them.
So this is like an announcement of letting you all know that March, we're going to talk a lot Godzilla. We're going to talk a lot of Kong, and we're going to talk a lot of Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut. Pretty much the whole month is going to be dedicated to this, isn't it?
I think you can divide the whole month into 2 parts. Part 1 is going to be DC and comics. Part 2 is going to be Godzilla and Kong.
Jesus. Oh.
And I'm going to be on every fucking episode. It's March Madness, motherfuckers. The rollback edition.
If you like Eddie, this is the month for you.
Oh, people love Eddie. I've been on almost every episode of everything.
You've been on almost every episode. You've been our rock this whole time. So this is a good time to announce that Eddie and I will be reviewing Shin Godzilla before Godzilla vs. Kong comes out. Is that fair to say? Is that correct?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay, we'll do it. Next week, right?
Yeah, well, we'll probably record it next week, but I'm going to save it in the tank until the week before Kong. Actually.
Okay, let's do it. So we're just going to drop
that
bombs all the time.
Yeah, that way we do Shin Godzilla, and then the next week, Kong versus Godzilla.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Oh, man, it's going to be good.
All right, man. Yeah, what's up?
I was saying, do you think, should we do a review of the original Godzilla, or do you think we should review maybe the more recent ones?
Like the one that connects to this universe, or?
No, Gojira.
Okay, you want to review the original one?
Not the American version. I want to do the like Japanese, like, hey, atomic bombs be bad movie.
I mean, it would make sense. I think it would be a disservice if we didn't. But spoilers, I like Shin Godzilla more than that one. So
the original. Well, we didn't get atomic bombed. Let's hope we don't, though.
No, but we got the Evangelion guy doing a Godzilla film, so that's still pretty good.
Oh man, God, I really hope they do. They're not going to do a direct sequel to Shin. We're going to talk about it later. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen,
final question: what did we learn from this?
From Your Name?
What did we learn from Your Name?
Fucking speak up, Jesus. That's what I learned.
They did speak up. They did speak up, though.
No. That's what I learned. Fucking speak up. That's what I learned.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Right. I that's not negative. That's genuinely like, come on, man. You feel a connection with some person? Tell them.
Okay, so between
what did you learn?
What did I learn? I learned that if you're a person who strives to create art and live off that, which is a very hard thing to do in this world, it's always good to find inspiration anywhere else, like anywhere. And this is a movie that endlessly inspires me. It makes me want to, keep doing what I'm doing and not give up. But it also frustrates me because, like I said before, it keeps me up at night thinking, will I ever do something as good as this? And you gotta have somewhere to reach. You gotta have a hurdle to jump into. So I guess that's good.
I have a response. Actually, I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily right to completely compare yourself to a piece of art because, no. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Straight up, here's a little peek behind the curtain. Harry Potter made me not want to be a writer.
Okay.
Because I said I will never be able to flesh out a world or create characters like this. I will never be able to do it on this scale with this amount of originality. So why bother?
Yeah.
And then I think eventually you come to a consensus of like, that's fine. I don't need to make the next Harry Potter. I just need to make what Eddie likes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I agree. And I haven't stopped. It's just there's always going to be like the one thing where you're like, God damn it.
Right.
It's just that. It's just that. It doesn't mean that I'm stopped. It doesn't discourage me. It does the opposite. It inspires me. It makes me want to keep going. So yeah. And look, you may not write the next Harry Potter, but at least you're not a TERF. So, at least you don't hate trans people. So, that's.
Is that what they call people that hate trans people, a TERF?
Yeah.
What kind of pieces of shit have their own name? Oh, that's fair. The Nazis have a name.
I mean, we have to call them something,
I didn't know that was a thing.
Fuck you, Joanne, wherever you are. Okay. I said it. And now
Joanne?
Yeah, JK.
Oh, fair enough. I can't. No, I have no defense of that. I have no. She wrote some great books, but we'll take it from here.
Yeah, we'll
Rowling, sit your ass down and take our money.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, you can follow us on any of our links down below.
If you're listening to us via podcast, please like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're trying to grow the channel. If you can do us a favor, please share it with your friends. Like that's how I found out about one of my favorite podcasts.
Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to hear more about our thoughts on movies, go to therollback.net. I've been Chema.
And I've been Eddie. And this was the
rollback.
Perfect every time.
If only we could get it that way every time. Nice.